Alright, so what's going on, guys? So welcome to the video. Today I just kind of wanted to cover what my training and my nutrition are going to look like for the cut. Now, before I get started, I just want to say that the macros and the training split I'm going to show you were created for me. I'm currently working with a coach, and he got all my information and created a program specifically for me. So I merely showing you guys what I'm doing, but this is by no means me telling you eat this amount of calories and you're going to lose a lot of fat or put on a lot of muscle. If you choose to, that is on you, but this is not for you to replicate. So we'll go ahead and get started. Now, I can't really get a good position to kind of get everything in the room, so face is going to be a little cut out sometimes. However, I will be having 6 days where I'm having basically a regular intake day, and then I will have 1 day a week, which is a refeed day. Now, the 6 days out of the week, my regular macros are 60 to 80 fat, 250 to 275 grams of carbs, and 180 to 200 grams of protein. Now, I'm given ranges just kind of interchange throughout the week. If maybe I'm not feeling as hungry, so I can go in the lower end of carbs. Maybe if I'm feeling hungrier the next day, I can go kind of on the higher end. But also, I'm going to have rest days, which I might want to stay on the lower side of the carbs and caloric intake overall, just because I'm not as active. I do try to keep it the same every day. There's really not I'm not on an elite level of competing, so there's really not that much of a need for me to kind of mess with my calories that much. But I do like to have a specific target that I'm going to hit every single day, as opposed to just kind of going with the ranges and seeing what I hit. So what I'm choosing to hit is 70 grams of fat, 260 grams of carbs, and 190 grams of protein. What that is going to come out to is 2,430 calories. So that's my typical day of eating. Now, as I said, I'm going to have 1 day a week, which is my refeed day, where I'm going to be having a higher calorie day. That's going to be in the form of carbohydrates. So my refeed day, 50 to 70 grams of fat, 350 to 375 grams of carbs, and 180 to 200 grams of protein. So what I used to do in the past, my refeed days, and actually in general, is I always went on the lower end of the caloric range that I was given. So what I'm going to try to do differently is keep my fat more towards the higher end, just because my typical day is 70 grams of fat, and for my refeed I could go up to 70. So I want to attempt for the first little bit just to kind of keep fat on the higher end for the refeed day, just to kind of see how I respond with the higher carbs as well. So my goal is going to be 60 to 70 fat, going more towards 70, but if I'm down towards 60, then that's fine as well. For carbs, I'm going to be doing 350, so kind of contradictory to what I just said, but I always tend to stay on the lower end of my ranges because as I continue to lose weight, there's going to come a point where it's going to stall out. So I want to attempt to kind of do control it as much as I can at the beginning, quite honestly. So if I'm feeling hungrier, then I'll go towards 375, but most days I'm going to try to aim for 350. And then my protein is going to be 175 to 180 grams of protein. So refeed day is typically higher in carbohydrates and a reduced fat and protein intake. So I'm going to reduce the I'm going to reduce the protein, but again, just see how I respond to same fat, higher carb. Now what that's going to bring me to is 2,730 calories. So it's going to be an extra 300 calories from my normal day. Now my refeed day is going to be scheduled to be the day before my heaviest or most strenuous training day. So what I'm doing, and again, I'll go over my training split in just a little bit. My most strenuous day is going to be deadlifts, just because with this off season I will be doing conventional and sumo, and conventional is still just kind of, it doesn't feel right to me, so I don't want to go into that particular training session feeling really tired or depleted, so I'd much rather go in there feeling energetic. Now, the reason behind the refeed day being after or before your most strenuous workout is because you're going to have more energy from the higher intake of food the day before. So generally what tends to happen is you should maybe wake up at 217.0, have your refeed day, and then generally next day you wake up 217.6, 218.4, something along those lines. But what tends to happen to me is I actually drop weight. Don't know why. Fingers crossed, a little blessed with that, but basically you're going to have more energy in you from having a higher intake the day before, which translates into better performance the next day because you're not feeling as dragged out, which again, at the beginning of any cut you shouldn't feel too dragged out, but a little bit more food never hurt anybody. Alright, so training is finally starting to feel good again. I kind of had like about a year and a half layoff where I wasn't on any particular programming, and then when I first started to get back into it, I didn't respond too well to the program I was running at the time. That was completely my fault, but now that I'm back with my current coach, I'm finally feeling halfway decent again, so lifting doesn't suck that much. However, I say that because I'm not sure how much actual training footage I will have, just because honestly I want to enjoy it and really focus as much as I can. So I'll try to get some clips, but it's mainly going to be just, again, the big three, just because I really don't want to film leg curls or planks or any of that stuff, because that's just a waste of my time to film it. But if people wanted to see, how to do it or whatever, I would gladly oblige. Anyway. Program. So I am currently on a 5-day split, which could easily be 3 to 4 days, which I'll explain, but this is how it's programmed for me and the more optimal way of doing it. So I have a bench hyper day, a squat hyper day, deadlift day, bench power day, and then squat power day. So I'm not exactly going to go into specifics of it. You'll, again, throughout the course of my videos, I'll kind of briefly talk about what I'm doing that day, so I'm not going to I don't want this video to be too condensed and too full of useless information. So basically my hyper day is, again, more on the higher rep ranges, and then my power day, of course, is going to be a higher percentage with less reps, and I'm currently running a linear program, so each week we increase the weights and the percentages, and just so on and so on. So I am currently on kind of like a deload from last week. I did my mock meet where I hit the current maxes that I have, which I didn't think about, so that'll be on the next clip. So I've been kind of on a deload, just easing back into it because my body was pretty beat up from maxing out for the first time in like year and a half. So alright, so before I show the totals, I'm not going to try and make any excuses. This is a product of me not training smartly in my beginning years and just taking a lot of layoffs and not being as dedicated as I need to be. But that's a completely different topic. So these are my starting numbers, and they're they're going to increase from here. That's all I can really say to it. So I am working with a 280 squat, a 170 poverty bench, and a 320 deadlift, which brings my total in regards to powerlifting to a whopping 770 pounds. Now, when I competed in my first powerlifting meet, I had a 275 squat, a 155 bench, and I believe it was a 280 deadlift. So squats have not improved as much. Although from the video, my coach said it probably looks like I could have pushed 380, but I'm kind of a wimp. So poverty bench, 170 pounds. There is nothing to say on that. I will only discuss bench when I can even bench 2 plates. And even then, we're not even going to discuss bench. As for deadlifts, I am proud of that 320. I could do 405, but... So that is what everything is kind of looking like. Like I said, as far as just a overview of it, and we're just going to get better from here on out. So the reason I made this video, the reason I'm starting to do this YouTube, is because I need to start holding myself more accountable. I've slacked on training for the longest. I have slacked on my diet, and I'm done with it. You know, I have goals that I want to hit, and I'm going to make them happen. So this is out of the way. All formal videos are done, so now we can kind of get into the boring life of moi. I'm interesting sometimes, so I hope you guys stick around. Catch you later.